Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever in the world you are catching this Chapman Sports Broadcast Network broadcast. Today, a gloomy, gray day here in Orange, but on the field, it's looking electric. The Chapman Panthers facing off against the University of Southern California Trojans. Justin, it's going to be a good day, I think.
It will be. And I mean, when do you often say USC versus Chapman, right? It's going to be an exciting day out here. And I know you said electricity. I'm feeling the static coming in.
I think that is a general feeling up in the stands, also up here in the booth. But today, you've got me, Dan Batson, as your play-by-play commentator, joined by the wonderful Justin Lee at color. The team is going to be great, but obviously, we've got the Division I Trojans coming down to Wilson Field, playing against the Panthers, something we don't see too often here.
Right, and that's very much so. Division I club lacrosse. We get to have a great treat out here for sure. They both played Minnesota over the course of this weekend. Chapman got the victory. USC actually got their first victory. They were off to a really rough start this season, 1-5 to start out, and they finally got that win. So they're fine. They're trying to find that new groove, just like Emperor Cusco in that Disney movie, and they've kind of found it so far. So they're coming in here with a lot of that momentum for sure.
Yeah, but obviously, like you said, a slow start for the Trojans, but a rapid start for the Panthers. Let's take a look at some of those SLC standings and see where the league stacks up. And obviously, we were talking about it. We're talking about teams like Chapman starting off undefeated. San Diego State, of all people, starting off undefeated. But as you can see, conference games just now starting to ramp up now.
Right, and it's early, right? The only couple of teams that really have played conference is UCLA, USC, and Arizona. Arizona having the best of that, so that's why they're right at the top right now. Chapman plays that first one as well so far in the SLC conference. So we're going to see by the end of today, when the smoke all clears, who's going to be up there, and I'm sure it's going to be either Chapman Panthers or USC.
Well, we're talking about club teams. We're talking about the SLC. We have to talk about the fact that your donations to this team is what makes them be able to play at such a high level. You're going to see the QR code on your screen now. If you'd like to make a donation, you can do so here live on the Chapman Sports Broadcast Network. But these guys, they're just amazing players. They're student athletes. They work so hard for this club team.
That's right, and obviously they can't be considered affiliated with university. They have to play club sports, but they want to be a part of Division I. So that's why you see teams like UCLA, USC playing against each other, and they need a lot of support because they don't get a whole lot of funding from the university. So check out that QR code if you want to support the Panthers.
And how can we not talk about the sport if we're not going to talk about some of those key players that are going to be making an impact on the fastest game on turf? Let's talk about USC first. Let's talk about the attack. Let's talk about our first key player, number 18, Antoine Motes. Antoine has got the lacrosse hair, has got the lacrosse look, but that's not what I see when I see him. I see a baller. I see a guy who's gritty, who's ready to go after those tough positions. 8 goals, 7 assists, 8 ground balls on today. That's what you want. But on the attack, let's talk about what's happening on the other side of the field for the Trojans. Let's talk about their goalie. Let's talk about the guy in between the tube who really is going to be there for them all the time. Number 33, Darnell Adler. Darnell has been a force so far. Obviously, starting off slow, 1-5 in the season. We've talked about it a lot, but a 58 save percentage, 92 saves. That's nothing to scoff at all. You're pretty happy if you're in that position. I think you're pretty happy if you're the goalie, and if you're the Trojans, I just think the defense needs to step up a little bit. That
is right, and that's kind of been off keel so far for the Trojans this season, is that defense hasn't been locking it down for a guy like Adler, so they need that today, especially if they're playing against Jason Bollinger today with a really good goalie out there, Pearl Goalie of the Week. But let's talk about some of those key players for Chapman, starting off with our man, number 42, Luke Moore, set the attack for the Panthers. Obviously, stepping into a role where Dante DeCalbas was starting off this season with a huge role. He's out for this game, so Luke Moore is going to need all of that energy today. 2 goals, 1 assist, 4 ground balls, versatile player out there on the grass. They're going to need him out there to attack the regions out there against Adler for sure. And let's move on to our next key player, Leander Rickers, new team captain for this squad, all 6'3" of him. He's a guy that we look to, big stature, kind of like a football build for sure, and he's going to be big for this Chapman Panthers team. Assist, 1, 6 ground balls. They're going to need him if they want to give Jason Bollinger a little bit of breathing room against this USC Trojans team.
I think that's going to be a great call. Obviously, Leander has been a force, and we had the opportunity to have Nico Schwegler actually talk to him and record a little thing, and we're going to see that at halftime, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let's go talk to Nico Schwegler, who's on the sideline now and will be there throughout the game.
Thank you so much, Dan. And guys, we're in for a great game here today as we get set for the USC Trojans, making the trek down I-5 to take on the number 3 ranked Chapman Panthers. And obviously, as you mentioned, this being a club sport at Chapman, they're able to face off against Division I opponents, these big-time schools, rather than our usual Division III opponents that we're used to seeing in the SCIAC. And obviously, it's big time for these players. Obviously, Leander, one of our key players and a team captain for this team in his senior year, said he absolutely loves playing these teams, and no better team to do it than their Southern California rival in USC. As we get set for this one, I'll be sending it back up to you up in the booth. Dan, Justin?
So obviously the game has just begun. The face-off does go in favor of the Trojans as we're seeing our first official line changes. And here we go into the half-court set, Chapman versus USC. We've talked about it a lot in the pre-show. Let's see where this one goes, Justin.
That's right. Sebastian Rodriguez off that face-off. Obviously, the Panthers have been relying a lot on Cooper Ehlers to start off these games, and he doesn't get the best of it to start off this one.
Yeah, obviously Rodriguez there taking the face-off for the Trojans. Happy to get that first one. That's going to set the precedent for what we're going to see today. Now the Trojans working around X.
A little bit of a different look for the Panthers, obviously. Adam McDonald out on the perimeter, Grant Cavan out there on the side, and obviously Luke Morissette we're talking about on offense. The defense side, we talked about Troy Kennedy, Shannon Hanamoto, and obviously Leander Ricker's one of our key players.
That one stopped by Jason Bollinger. We talked about him a lot, being an iron wall in between the net there, and honestly, you can't speak highly enough of him. He's an absolute force in the net, and that one going to be turned over right back to the Trojans. I mean, you're pretty happy with how this one starts out, right, Justin?
That's right, and you see a little bit of handling troubles from the USC Trojans so far to start this one off. Good pressure there on the outside perimeter by Cam DeMorris, a long stick midi. That's a versatile use of a tool there, obviously. Long stick, using it to your advantage, and those are some of the versatile guys out there we're going to have to look at because they use that stick to their advantage on both defense and offense.
Trojans looking to work around the crease here, running through Booth. Now moving, got a solo, looking around X. Jason Bollinger, that one scored by number 2, Jonathan Vink. That one's a great start if you're a Trojan. Jason Bollinger didn't give up a goal in the first half to the Minnesota Gophers. Now he gives one up in the first minute and a half here. Justin, what are you taking from that?
I am looking at a very aggressive approach so far to start this game. Obviously, Jonathan Fink out on the X, getting wrapped around over Jason Bollinger and putting it right over his head. You see on the replay here, just fitting it right in the place where Jason Bollinger can't really defend the short game there.
That one is won by Chapman's number 1, Cooper Ehlers. Coming in for a line change. We're going to see Chapman take their first strike here in the half-court set. We're going to see how they work around X. We've been seeing a lot of guys like Jack Worth being a versatile option. Obviously, that game against Minnesota, we saw a lot of goals, a lot of different goal scorers. Let's see how they work now.
Yeah, they allowed a lot of play time for some of those players against in that game against Minnesota. Obviously, winning out 18-3 in that game on Friday, put up a lot of goals, and it gave a lot of time for the second subs and third subs to have some free time out there.
Now working around X, that's number 12, Grant Cavan. Moving the ball well here. That one scored by number 21, Josh Voman. That one just looked easy for him.
Yeah, Josh Voman obviously becoming a highlight player for this team. That's his 5th goal of the season, already making a name for himself for this Chapman Panthers team. And obviously we talked about the absence of Dante DeCalves, now coming in here, getting that goal, and the Panthers responding early to that goal that they had against Bollinger earlier.
For the Trojans, 41 on the wing.
Well, this one is off to a hot start. Both teams striking early within these first 5 minutes as we have our third face-off of the game now. That's 1-1 to both Ehlers, and that's going to be Booth. Let's see where they go here now. Nico Orsino at the bottom of your screen, and that one's going to go in favor of the Trojans. Honestly, you're really happy with how you're starting here, especially we talked about starting 1-5 on the season. This is a great start against a team that has not seen defeat.
I think they recognize just how much of an underdog team they are with the Trojans against this number 3 nationally ranked team in the Panthers, and they're going to need a lot of that aggressive energy. And last year, they had it. They nearly beat the Panthers last year, 11-12, just in the last few seconds, wasn't able to come away with a tiebreaker.
Oh, man, that one just dropped here on this fast break opportunity. That one's on number 17, Eric. Not going to try that last name just quite yet. But Eric now setting up, and he's going to come off as the Chapman Panthers starting off in their half-court set again. We saw them strike first on their last time down. Let's see if they can hope to repeat it on this second as Rocco Reginali at the top.
Yeah, Rocco Reginali, also an interesting player for this team as well. Sometimes wears 45, but 2 goals this season, 2 assists so far.
And that one thrown away. Just another turnover here. The Trojans looking to try and make something work here. Obviously, want to capitalize on these Panther mistakes early. You got to be thinking, what is Joel Callis thinking on the sideline?
Well, I'm sure he's just trying to get his team a little bit more settled down and try to control that ball a little bit more.
At midfield, Adam McDonald.
And now this one looking like a ground ball. This is a big play. That's picked up by the Panthers' number 42, Charlie Littleworth. And like we saw, we're going to see the same offensive lineup coming in, these shift changes, just like hockey. A lot of different players coming on and off. We want our best guys out there each and every time we get into this set. Shot clock now at 70.
Yeah, this game's a fast-paced game. A lot of substitutions like you talked about, and we're going to see a lot of these substitutions, right?
Wow! What a shot there from Charlie Littleworth. That looked like it was 15 yards out.
Actually, that was Luke Morissette on the goal there. But like we said, one of the key players for this Panthers team, then they're going to need him for sure with Dante DeCalvis being out and Luke Morissette out there finally getting his goal. And we talked about him earlier. That's why we need that aggressive play from a player like Luke Morissette out there, one of the best scoring players on this Chapman Panthers team from a year ago.
I am so sorry. I was looking at the wrong roster there. Luke Morissette, our key player, obviously scoring the goal there. Justin Lee picking up on my mistake is now the face-off again. Cooper Ehlers for the Panthers looking to take one home. And he'll do just that. No help needed. Cooper now pushing the pace.
Yeah, we usually talk about the face-off specialist as a guy who wins the face-off, gets off the field quickly, but sometimes he can have a role out there to surprise the defense because face-off guys usually are kind of a mystery in this game.
That is right, but Cooper does it quite well as he's won the last 2 now for the Panthers. The Panthers looking to do something now. Got Brugerman out there, Walker Holden out there, Ben Newstrighton out there, and they always talked about Luke Morissette. Now at X, number 12. Grant Cavan. That one buried by number 8, Ben Newstraten. Got to be happy if you're Ben there, obviously. Found his opportunity, doesn't hesitate, takes a rip, and buries it into the back of the net.
Yeah, didn't have too much of a playing time last season, but now he's got more of it. We got a timeout here, but what a great shot there. Obviously, the bouncing shot is what works the best. We're doing the nutmeg against a goalie like Adler out there. And so far, you know, USC, they came up fast with that 1 goal, and now the Panthers have responded with just 3.
Yeah, you got to be happy with it. Obviously, Jason Bollinger in the net. Hasn't seen too much action since that first goal at the 13-minute mark, but you got to be thinking in these huddles, what are they going to be talking about? I mean, if you're Joel Callis, you've had some sloppy play to start. Obviously, a couple balls that should not be dropped. But if you're the Trojans, you start off hot. You're coming off, you know, a win against Minnesota, your first win of the season. You got a goal, but then you give up 3. You know, what are you talking about in this huddle?
You know, it's just about replicating what they did on that goal. What worked? Finding what, you know, really worked for them on that goal, trying to replicate that game as well and say, you know, we got to do the exact same thing. Because the thing is about Jason Bollinger that I've noticed over the years that we've watched him is that if you get up close to his face, he will have trouble defending a lot of those goals up in his face. So you really need to get up in his box and try to get it inside around him where he can't react too fast to it. If you get him on the long shot, he will defend every single one that you throw at him.
Yeah, obviously the crease is that area, that red circle around the net that Jason does not want any of those red jerseys in. But like you said, if you're up there high and tight, then Jason's got to make a reaction play there. But one of the things I love to see about these Chapman men's lacrosse games is they're a club team. You know, we talked about in the pre-show, we talked about making those donations. If you'd still like to do it, there is a QR code that I'm sure that will come up once again, but there's just a crowd here, a crowd of people, of families, of friends that love to be here to support these guys because they know how much they love the game. They're here to play because they want to be here to play. They're paying to play for this, and they're playing against some of the best teams. So you can't speak highly enough, but just see that families, friends from probably all around Orange County, maybe around the country, are coming to see it. It's pretty amazing to think about.
That, and also, I mean, on the broadcast, too, we get a lot of audience members from around the country watching a lot of these big games. You see the numbers up there for sure. And these lacrosse games out here, you may not think they draw a lot of a crowd, but this is some of the largest crowds we see here at Wilson Field. All in all, 1,800 seats in the stadium. Almost looks like sometimes 2/3 of the stadium is filled up.
And that one, again, is won by Cooper. Cooper getting the face-off as a long stick takes that rip. That's number 9. Camden Morris absolutely buries that one straight out of the huddle. If you're the Trojans, you just called a timeout and said, we got to stop the offense, and that one comes through. Justin, what's going on?
I mean, it's just a little sloppy play everywhere. Like we said, it's the defense that needs to really pick themselves up. Adler cannot do all the job out there. That's a tough shot, and there's nothing he can really do about that. You know, that ball was bounced right in front of his net, over it, right into the goal. Some great stuff there by Camden Morris.
Yeah, Camden Morris, the senior, 6'4", 200 pounds from Del Mar, California. Happy with that one as a 1 mark in the score sheet for him. Now the Panthers looking to drain this shot clock, as we're going to see the Trojans set up in their first half-court set since that first goal.
Yeah, one of the things I'm noticing about the Panthers is that they're really being aggressive at any part of the field. It doesn't matter if they're on the offensive side or defensive side. Whenever the Trojans have it, they always have a guy to challenge another player.
Now the Trojans looking to find something here. Bringing up solos as we see those long stick defensemen staying close. Guys like Rickers, guys like Jackson. Those are the guys we're going to be watching on those big sticks, those physical guys. SC has a chance. That one goes wide right as they're going to make a run for the out ball, and that one's going to stay in possession of the Trojans. Once again, it's the first guy to get a stick there, to get that throw in like it's soccer.
It's a very interesting rule with the sport of lacrosse, but obviously it has to be a shot that goes right to the goal, and if it goes wide of it, then whoever has the longest stick out there, that's part of your body. So your stick is out there, you get that ball.
Now working around X, the Trojans trying to find something, and that one is a shot clock violation. Don't see that too much when you're playing lacrosse, as you know, teams are trying to push the pace, but that just goes to show the defensive setup that the Panthers have, as now they're looking to go on attack with Morissette, Adam McDonald, just some of the guys out there.
That's why they're one of the best defenses out here as well. Nationally ranked number 3 with the defense, and obviously the Trojans. I didn't hear too much communication out there on the clock. Usually a lot of the guys on the bench will start counting down if that shot clock is going down. So Trojans need to get a little bit more communication to their guys out there to let them know, like, hey, you're running out of time.
That one in close to the crease to number 12, Grant Cavan. Got Worth out there, got Vomand. Adam McDonald, like we talked about earlier, Luke Morissette. As now number 5, Rocco Reginali coming out there. This is probably their best offensive set they have. A little bit smaller on the size, but quick. As you can see, Rocco making a cut inside. Can't find anything there.
And that's the name of the game, right? Shorter stature, but using those fast legs to get around and make quick strikes.
Oh, that one wide left as now number 21, Josh Vomand, trips and falls, but will retain possession with 16 on the shot clock.
He dove for the ball, even though the ball was nowhere near him. That's called effort.
Now looking to find something, maybe taking a rip from farther out. That's number 22, but that is saved by Adler. But he is down. Looks like maybe he wore that one on the leg. Obviously, we were talking about it in the pre-show a little bit, Justin, but that hurts. That hurts a lot.
It does, yeah. We were looking at, and I didn't even know this before, but they wear cups in lacrosse for the goalies. Obviously, like you said, that's a heavy ball. You don't want to get hit with that thing for sure in the wrong places. And right there, I mean, this is going to be a big hit to the USC Trojans if he's not able to stay in this game, obviously, with a lot of pain right now.
Yeah, obviously, you're hoping on the sideline that he's going to get up and be okay. The trainers around him right now and everybody on the field taking a knee. Obviously, sportsmanship is key for these guys. The crowd has gone silent, and so we will take a moment to respect the time.
Yeah, Darno Adler out there on the goal, Already had a lot of work put in for him today. Getting a little sip of water there, so looking like he's in good shape. But the next guy up would be Eli Pergola, who's just a freshman this season, like Darnell Adler. So that's a pretty young group out there on the goalie side of things. But only 2 saves to add to Pergola's name so far in the stretch of total of 6 games that they played.
And it looks like Darnell Adler will take the top walk off. And it will be, like you said, number 19, Eli Pergola, coming from San Francisco, California, the true freshman. This is going to be interesting to see Darnell. We talked about him in our pre-show. Obviously, sad to see him go, but now it's time for the freshman to really step up and see what he can do. Obviously, Eli got some big shoes to fill, but you got to hope that he's going to do it. You got to love to see it, as now the Trojans take possession and started us back up.
I mean, now you talk about one goalie being down, so now your defense really needs to start stepping up, especially in this first quarter of things. If they want to keep it close, they're going to have good communication and good strategy.
That one picked up by a long stick defender there. Number 13 for the Panthers, that's Troy Kennedy, as he's in the attacking half. Don't see that too often for him.
Taking out 13 for the Panthers.
Right, and we talked about that versatility of the long stick middies. Obviously, they can go anywhere. The whole field is their canvas, and if they want to paint a little bit of art out there, they can do so with that long stick.
Holden Walker, Elijah Brugerman, Walker Holden coming up, looking to make another goal here. Obviously 4-1 here in this first quarter. 6 minutes to go as the Panthers looking to maybe pepper the new freshman goalie.
Yeah, he's going to have a tough challenge out there in the goal. Obviously, only limited playing time.
That one a little wide right there by number 33, McDonald. But the Panthers retain possession, gets the line first. Now number 12 with possession, Grant Cavan. Now to Morissette. Moving it around to Ben Neustriton and Elijah Brugerman. Not using X too much here.
For the Trojans, and a little bit of light now for this team.
And the last time we saw the Trojans setting up in their attacking half, I like to call it the shell when they're surrounding the goal, obviously took the entire shot clock last time. We're going to see if they can make something work here with just 48 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, you got to communicate more. Count down that clock when it comes down to 10 seconds. Speaking of which, we also got Darnell Adler back out there on goalie, switching out.
It's good to see him come back. Obviously, he just recently walked off from that apparent injury. Not too sure what happened to him, but he's back up. As now the Trojans looking to find something, but the lockdown defense there from the Panthers, only 20 seconds on the shot clock now.
Working hard on defense, 23 to Leander records.
And this is...
Now it looks like another Trojan limping around, as it seems like a referee called that timeout on number 18, Antoine Motes. We talked about him in the pre-show as well. Obviously, we talked about him with his 8 goals, 7 assists. We talked about him being a gritty player. That's a harsh loss for the Trojans.
Yeah, and again, with the key players, that's our second one walking off the field here. But obviously, good sign of Darnell Adler's back out there on the goalie side. But Antoine Motes, that's another tough loss for them. Another true freshman player out there limping a little bit off the field. Hopefully, he can come back for this Trojans team, because he's going to be important if they want to keep things tight.
And you got to be thinking that Jake Van Nostrand, the guy who is leading this Trojans team, is thinking, what can we do with these kind of new guys? As that one is picked away. A huge long stick defensive play, as now the Panthers will take possession because of that caused turnover.
And we talked about him earlier. Leander Rickers with the long stick, getting right up in the face of the Trojans and not allowing them to get anything on that possession.
Now the Panthers setting up in their attacking half. We'll see what they can do here. Obviously, you're happy with how this first quarter has gone, but want to keep the pressure on. This game is the fastest game on grass. Leads can change quick.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of cardio out there for sure, especially carrying a stick like that. It's a lot of extra calories to burn.
Panthers moving the ball well here, looking to play to their strengths. We've seen them running cutters, running around X. That one inside, just long as Luke Morissette will make it to the line first.
Hey, I like the idea, though, of pitching it off to a guy like Adam McDonald and doing the quick transition game against a goalie like Adler for sure.
Panthers looking for something here. Obviously don't want to settle for, like you said, a long rip. Now playing towards X. Morissette driving this offense. That one shot by number 22, Jack Worth.
What a great shot there by Jack Worth with a little sniper shot. Everybody get down on the ground, getting it right in the goal, right above the right shoulder of Adler there. Tough to make that play with the net. I mean, we're talking about hand to stick to eye coordination. We're using the Pythagorean theorem out here. That's ridiculous. But what a great shot there from the Panthers. And again, really running it up the score against this tough Trojans team.
Again, that goal scored by Jack Worth. One of my favorite things is our PA here says he is the pride of Colorado, as they call him here on this team, as he gets his first goal of the day. And now the Trojans looking to respond. Obviously, they've got their work cut out for them. 5-1 so far. As that ball is picked up by a Panther eventually. That's Nico Orsino, number 17. Believe it or not, that is the younger brother of my favorite Chapman football player, Gio Orsino, as that one saved by Adler. He just came right back into the game, and that's his first save back after that injury when he came off.
Yeah, and Nico Orsino trying to do the quick game. He's done it a few times. We saw that against UC Berkeley as well when he got a few goals to add to his name. But obviously using that DB skills that he's got in football with that running ability and trying to get it right quick in front of Adler. I do like the aggressiveness from the Panthers so far, getting it back out there, but give your defense a little bit more of a rest.
Yeah, obviously haven't seen too much of the Trojans in their attacking half this game, as that one's off the post. Jason Bollinger covered it well, but that one's going off the crossbar, as now the Trojans with 80 seconds on the shot clock, looking to make something work here in this last 2 minutes.
Here's the thing about Bollinger. I mean, it's like the Matrix to him. Everything just slows down for him, and he can see all the balls in front of his face at any moment.
That one goes wide. That was number 23, Grant Nelligan. And now they get another shot clock reset, ticking down the time. You know, if you're the Trojans, Justin, you obviously want a goal leaving here, but can you be happy if, you know, you just run down the shot clock again?
Probably wouldn't be. I mean, you don't want that type of play out here. It's just messy play, non-gritty. You got to really use that time, utilize it as much as possible, and try to tire out the defense, right? But you also have to understand that you're down by a lot of scores. If you want to get back in this thing, you got to kind of start building your way back up right now.
That one's met by one of our key players, Leander Rickers, as now just 1 minute on the shot clock and game clock. We're going to see what they can do here. Obviously bringing on some new faces. Got number 1, Holden Walker again. But we're looking to make maybe one more goal here, as now the clock ticks down within the seconds.
Maybe try to get one quick shot off of here before the quarter ends, and let the Panthers give some time as they go out into the second quarter with some good breathing room.
Panthers looking for something here, playing around their shell, working their offense. That one's inside and scored. Number 33, Adam McDonald, puts that one in the back of the net for the Panthers. Now the score is 6-1.
See, here's where that practice comes in between for the Panthers. That's the difference between a good program and a really great program, especially with Joel Callis behind the marks out there. Obviously, one of the longer tenured assistant coaches. This is his second season as a head coach, but he got Coach of the Year honors last year, having the Panthers get up there with a 17-4 record, going all the way to the semifinals but losing to Virginia Tech. But they practice those. A lot of those drills are just offloading drills.
Oh my word, number 55, Michael Morrison, hailing from Newport Harbor, the sophomore face-off specialist, just took it all the way from face-off. You cannot get much better than that.
You know what we talked about earlier? Face-off specialists being a mystery. Michael Morrison coming out here with that face-off, winning it, getting out there fast, now having his first goal of his career. I told you, they're special. They're special, and they never tell us.
Michael Morrison winning the face-off handedly and then taking it all the way to the crease as maybe jumped a little too early that time. The adrenaline pumping as now 10 seconds on the game clock.
Yeah, he got
Trojans looking for something.
Yeah, he got a little excited there. He tried to toe the ball off like Toe Mater out there and wasn't able to make it so.
And now the clock will wind down, and obviously you can see Jason Bollinger maybe saying, hey, we got to close that off. I know there's only 3 seconds left, but that will be the end of the first quarter here. Obviously, the Chapman Panthers got to be happy with how that first quarter went.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're extremely excited. You have a lot of breathing room now with a 6 lead against the Trojans so far, and we saw a lot of quick shots. And like we talked about, secret things coming about and coming true, and Michael Morrison making goals like that. I mean, this is so far. I can't say blowout yet because the Panthers have sometimes given up a lot of these leads in some of these games, but so far, really great action out there from the Panthers. We saw a little bit of a rocky start to start off things, and then they started piecing it together, and now everything's starting to come together.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be really happy, but if you're the Trojans, obviously you're entering this second quarter with a 6-goal deficit. Obviously, you're going to want to try and build that back until halftime, but obviously, what are you going to talk about during this short break that we have?
Let's talk about some of those keys. Let's talk about some of those keys a little bit, and then let's see some of those highlights from that first quarter as well, as we're speaking of which. You know, some of the keys, especially for the Panthers, was just not trying to underestimate a little too much about this Trojan team. Like we talked about, and you saw that first goal earlier in that first quarter of things and getting off to a quick start, but then the Panthers said, nuh-uh, you're not doing that. We're going to jump out you, and not with 1, not with 2, 3 goals almost within under 3 minutes to go in that quarter break, and getting all the way up to this lead so far. And they just dominated so far, and they've taken advantage of every single little detail that the Trojans have kind of thrown at them.
Yeah, I mean, you saw those highlights, and there was plenty more. 8 goals to start this game. I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon.
No, I don't think it will be. The Panthers have a lot of energy out there. You saw Michael Morrison trying to jump off a little bit too much there. But that's the thing. Take a little bit of a deep breath. You guys are jumping up a little too much. Just settle it down. I know Joe Callis understands that. He has that championship mind mentality. But that's what makes the best teams out there great, is that you find ways to win, not just winning.
Okay, but let's take a look at some of those team comparisons from last year. Obviously, we're talking about 2 teams that did face off last year, but as you can see, we've got 11 goals to 12 goals. Obviously, we talked about them being a little bit of an underdog win there, but this year, it looks like we're going to have a lot more goals than 11 and 12.
Yeah, I think we are. We're almost up to that point now where the Panthers scored 12, but the Trojans answering with a lot of those, and those second-half goals is what really kind of helped them get back into things against the Panthers, and that's exactly what they don't need, right? That's what we're talking about, controlling your breath, keeping it simple, and just keep doing what you're doing and not trying to be overexcited, right? So that's what they need to do against this team.
Now, obviously, we get to go back down to the field where the face-off specialists are going towards midfield. As you can see, the crowd filling up the stands. We've talked about it, obviously. Lots of friends and family here. It's one of the coolest things about being here is just the energy, the vibes that we've got. As now, it looks like number 55, Michael Morrison, will be taking face-off once again.
Oof. You see that aggressiveness by Michael Morrison there on the face-off, taking off the duties of Cooper Ehlers, but that's usually what they do with some of these specialists. They're like kickers and punters. They only be out there for a few seconds, but they can do whatever they want, honestly. If you do things like Michael Morrison did in that first quarter with that goal, he can do anything.
That's right. And, you know, you're talking about kickers and punters, and, you know, some people say, oh, it's so easy to just go out there and do one thing, but it's so important to win these face-offs. Obviously, in a tight game, but even when you have the lead, you want to keep it.
Yeah, those little moments, that's the ones that they control. If they can control that, they're winning at their job.
Jack Worth, number 22, hailing from Boulder, Colorado. His second goal of the game. That's 3 twos in one sentence. Jack Worth happy with that one. Takes a rip from a ways out.
Yeah, doubling his goal totals for this season, now with 3 on the season after that goal. And again, we talked about the pride of Boulder out there, and again, making a great shot under the legs of Adler and starting off the second quarter on a hot start again.
Yeah, obviously, it's exciting to see the gray skies have finally gone away. The sun is shining. This is the city of Orange that I know and love, as now the Panthers, Michael Morrison, making a run.
Is he going to try to go for it again?
Looks like he's coming off there as Worth comes back on, the goal scorer. Looking to be their main guy on offense right now. As number 21, Josh Bowman, will come on as well. Those two guys have been a force, along with Rocco Reginali.
Yeah, this has been such a really good start for the Panthers here so far, really controlling the outside perimeters, and the Trojans playing a lot of tight inside defense, but not really challenging the Panthers.
And you got to think you got to step up to Jack Worth now. You can see that he can score from far out, but they look to be playing this zone defense, containing the shell as that one goes wide, but it'll be number 42, Luke Morissette, that brings us back in from X.
And that's the thing that kind of makes a lot of teams tired on defense, is that if you're not challenging a lot of these good teams right in their face and trying to play a lot of conservative defense, it's going to be tough.
That one looking a little rough, as looks like Jack Worth is going to turn that ball over, and now the Trojans get possession. Looking to start something off here as the Trojans now enter their own attacking half for the first time in this quarter.
Yeah, I haven't seen any signs of Antoine Motes coming back out here. He's actually over here on the sideline without his helmet and his gear, so it looks like he's going to be out for the rest of the game. That's a huge hit to the Trojans.
Yeah, we talked about him being one of the leading scorers for these Trojans this year, and now you got to look for other options. And if you're the Trojans, obviously I think you want to work around X a little bit more. You don't see too much of it, as now they throw it back there. SC trying to find anything here, but this defensive wall we were talking about earlier with Bollinger, led by Bollinger, looking a little too strong as that one finds inside. Stopped by Jason Bollinger.
And again, I like the approach there from the Trojans. Like we talked about it earlier, trying to get some strategy, put it up in the face of Bollinger, challenge him with his eyes in between and get that ball between him. Grant Nelligan is another guy who's really good for this team.
This one just looking a little bit crazy. That ball took a while to get off the ground, and now the Panthers looking to set up here in the shell. Holden Walker coming into the game, as well as number 2 for the Panthers. That's going to be Elijah Brueggemann. Looks like Jack Worth is going to come off here as number 8, Ben Neustraten, comes in, and a flag is now thrown. The whistle is finally blown there. Not too sure where the call is here. Maybe too many men on sides.
Yeah, that's what it looked like from afar here. They had more than 6 guys on the left side or right side of the pitch if you were looking on your screen, and had too many guys out there.
Not sure if you guys can hear that in the broadcast. That's going to be served by 23 on the Trojans. That's going to be Grant Nelligan. And now the Panthers with their first man-up opportunity of the game. 11:32 on the clock, 80 on the shot clock. The score, 8-1.
Clock at 80.
Panthers looking for anything here. That one inside goes off the end. And now the Trojans protect the man-up situation and retain possession, as they're going to try and look for something of their own.
Yeah, great job there by Michael Park to defend the inside and give Adler a little bit of help.
And that one will be turned over as soon as I say they're looking to try something new. And now the Panthers can take it a little bit slower here. Obviously 80 seconds to work with. I think you really want to start taking up a little bit more of that time if you can.
Right, and obviously they're up by this lead right now. So one of the big things is just control the time of the clock here and run it down. You got, what, 80 seconds on the shot clock, right? And use that time allotted. And obviously the Trojans aren't really being aggressive, so you can use that to your advantage.
Got Luke Morissette back there. He has been the guy who's been advocating for all these plays around X and kind of driving this offense, as that one is saved by Adler. Good to see him looking like himself in the net. We saw him walk off earlier this game, but he's looking well now as the Trojans set up in their own half-court set. But it looks like this full-court press from the Panthers coming out really strong.
He went over and back, guys!
That one's going to be a turnover as Jason Bollinger running through, getting physical, and he picks that one up. You got to be a little bit crazy to be pulling off something like that, as Leander Rickers is going to be bringing us up back the field. But Jason Bollinger putting his body on the line a little bit.
That's what makes him great as a goalie, is that the fact that he understands the game very well. He knows that he can go out there with a lot of help from his Panthers defense. He can go pick that up himself. Why not?
Now, obviously, you can see that the Panthers have been in almost complete control of this game so far. I mean, a lot of it is going their way as they're going to be calling a timeout here.
Timeout on the field, Chapman.
And now I wonder what Joel Callis is really doing this for. Obviously, you've got guys who are winning at the faceoff. You've got guys who are controlling on defense. I wonder why he calls this timeout.
Well, I'm sure he's also kind of glad that it's sunny conditions out here so far on the field. Obviously, that game on Friday, there was a little bit of a light issue, and they had a little outage for about 15 minutes or so before game started rolling again in that early first quarter. But for Drew Collins, obviously, I'm sure it's just the same theme. It's just you guys do your thing. You guys are doing a great job out there, and maybe we'll start rotating some of the subber guys once we get to the third quarter or so.
Yeah, obviously, if you can keep up the pressure like this and you can keep a lead like this, you might get some more reps for the guys that aren't seeing it too much. But one of the things I love to see is when we're talking about the Chapman side, you see guys like George McGurk out there. Obviously, he's not suited up, but he's a guy who's been a part of this team for so long. He was so crucial to their success last year. To stay with this program and to show what it means to be a part of it, it just goes to show that this team is more than just a team. It's a family. As we see on this replay, an amazing goal there. But a stop there by Adler. He was out earlier and came back, and it's really good to see that he's maintained the healthiness and they're not putting that freshman out there.
Yeah, it's tough. You're asking a lot for a freshman to just start out there, and especially in a Division I game like this. And I know that's a big stage for people who are, especially for freshmen. This USC team is very young. A vast majority of the guys on their roster is freshmen, so they have a lot of years to kind of figure things out as they come through here and trying to, especially they're going to get some good experience. Against a good team like the Panthers, they'll know what championship mentality looks like. And you talked about George McGurk, right? Obviously the 5th national highest points per game guy out there. But, that question was, what are the Panthers going to do without a guy like that? But that's what makes great teams great. Tom Brady can't do it all himself, right? He has to have a really good team behind him to make it out there. Aaron Rodgers, right? Why doesn't he have more Super Bowl rings? Because he didn't have a great defense, So it's about that team mentality and having a good relationship, family build, and that's what Joel Callis establishes.
Yeah, I think that's some great analysis. Is that one is ripped a little high there. That's Elijah Bregman. He will now reset the shot clock as Luke Morissette drops that one. A couple dropped passes here for the Panthers has been a common theme we saw, especially in the first quarter. But now that one, trying to find something inside.
Holden Walker is an interesting name that's out there now. We talked about some of those subs they want to try using now.
Well, a great save from Adler there as that one bounces up high, but now it'll be a Trojans possession. That's a great save from him. That's 2 big saves back-to-back there for Darnell.
That was like a veteran kind of move there from Adler out there, and we saw that from Bollinger as well, going out there and taking it himself, putting his body out on the line.
Now the Trojans with a bit of a fast break opportunity. That shot goes off one of the posts and goes off to the left as now the Trojans can set up. You see Antoine Motes over there on the sideline. Even though the gear is off, he is clapping. He's trying to get his team active.
Yeah, he's got a bag of ice on his right leg. It looks like he might be dealing with like a small hamstring injury. But yeah, if you're a captain for this team and obviously one of the top scorers for the team, you want your guys to be successful. And obviously he's out there showing, if it's not on the field, it's on the sideline showing out for his team.
Saw Luke Morissette try to break something up there at the half-court line. Can't walk over that 50-yard line for our viewers there at home. He's one of the attackers. Got to watch your numbers. Don't want an offsides call. Is now the Trojans working around X a lot more, as I've been seeing.
Right, one of the things, you can't have more than 7 guys on the attack side of the field. So we saw that call earlier in the game against the Trojans, and here we are.
Ooh, that one stuffed by the Panthers. Number 6, Charles Beasley. But the ball's still loose. Finally picked up by team captain Leander Rickers, who is absolutely pushing the pace, looking for an option. The long stick defenseman pretty far from home.
And that's what one of the things the Panthers excel is those fast break points. You see that a lot. We saw that from Nico Ursino and including Rickers earlier, like we saw in that first quarter of things. And trying to get that if the MCLA recorded those fast break point stats, I'm sure Chapman would probably be in the top percentile.
Yeah, they're obviously big fans of pushing the pace. You got to think that comes from the head of this all, Joel Callis, is Jack Worth, trying to work solo. Had an outstanding game on Friday. Had the opportunity to watch in the stands as that one is saved by Adler. You got to be happy on the defensive end now. Obviously, holding the Panthers to just 1 goal in this quarter after the 7 goals of the first. As that one is dropped by the Trojans, you got to think maybe the pressure is building. That one, a one-on-one situation, and he is stuffed just in front of the crease there. But now the Panthers set back up in offense after some great defensive stops.
Oh, the Trojans were in big trouble there, but credit to the Trojans defense for getting back in time and allowing their guys to reset and being aggressive and just holding this. Like I was about to mention, you know, they're kind of putting things together a little bit, and then they dropped that ground ball, obviously, and now we're back out here. Oh, we got a broken stick on the field at the 45-yard line.
That one buried. Number 42, Luke Morissette, a key player for us here at CSBN, a key player to the success of the Chapman Panthers in this first half. Shout out to Luke Morissette, obviously. We talked about him running the offense, but he's been a weapon to use as well, scoring 2 goals now.
Yeah, being one of those top players now for this team with the absence of Dante DeKalb is not out there. And you check back on that replay from that shot earlier. Nice little leap shot over Adler, getting it right into that place. We've seen a lot of those bounce-off shots from the ground so far this game.
Michael, number 55, winning that one. Michael Morrison. He's been a pretty reliable guy at face-off here a couple times for this team, as now, once again, we're sending in the attacking shift. 0, Holden Walker. Number 2, Elijah Brugman. Number 8, Ben Neustraten. Sometimes you'll see Jack Worth out there, obviously. Morissette, we've been talking about him a lot. Grant Cavan, working X now.
I want to see more aggressiveness from this Trojans team on the defensive side. And like you said earlier, limiting the Panthers' offense now just to 2 goals in the second quarter.
Yeah, it looks like they're paying a lot of attention to the zone defense, not the man. And that one is going to find its way past Adler after a deflection. That's going to be number 33, Adam McDonald, the freshman from Modern Day, Yorba Linda, California, close to home here at Chapman. But a great spot there from him.
Yeah, a lot of local guys out here for this Chapman Panthers team, and obviously there's a lot of really good club teams out here, and being, you know, one of those guys out here with Adam McDonald, who's also in a stepped-up role as well.
And now we're going to see that Eli Pergola from the Urban School of San Francisco, we saw him come in earlier in the game at goalie. Because of that injury, he's back out there now. You got to think maybe Adler was feeling something out there, or the coach just thought maybe we get some new faces out there to make a couple stops, but you got to wonder. Bringing in the freshman here, it's now 10-1, 4.5 minutes remaining. Chapman comfortably in the lead.
Well, I don't know if Coach Jake Van Ostrand is recognizing whether this game is out of hand or not.
Oh my goodness. Luke Morissette, number 42, taking an absolute rip at the net, and he buries it bottom right-hand side. Eli Pergola had no chance there.
Yeah, no chance at all. Obviously being a backup goalie back there, and Luke Morrison throwing the laser shot right through the goal. That's his third one of the day. And last year, obviously, with the points per game, 3.095. We talked about that 99th percentile in the MCLA, one of the top scorers. He's on a streak to maybe be even more than that.
Riley Booth and Michael Morrison on the faceoff as Morrison will take that one. And now the Panthers back on attack. It seems like almost this entire second quarter we've only seen things happening on the right-hand side of our screens as the Panthers in the driving seat of this game.
Yeah, they put foot to pedal the entire time, all the way down and just accelerating on the gas. They've never let up so far.
We talked about them being a D3 team, playing one of these D1 teams. We don't see it too often. These guys aren't poets. They're not leopards. They're not stags or Athenas. These are the Trojans, and the Panthers are mauling them at this point.
Yeah, they definitely are, and I'm sure the Trojans knew that coming in here.
Wow, through the legs. That's going to be number 0, Holden Walker. One of my favorite things that our PA announcer does here for our men's lacrosse games is call him Holden Skywalker, looking a bit Jedi-esque out there on the field.
Used a little bit of the force to get used to his advantage there, you know what I'm saying?
I like it. I like it.
Getting it right in the goal there. Freshman out of Broomfield, Colorado, 6'2" of him. Look at that long shot out there.
It's too fast. The camera can't even keep up with it. Holden Walker with a goal there. Now Morrison and Riley Booth will face off again. And Morrison, that's 3 in a row for him, as we saw him be a bit of a problem on that last shot he took on goal.
Yeah, a force to be reckoned with out there as well. We saw him with a lot of fast break after winning those faceoffs, and so far he's been the guy.
Checking in 34, Patrick Seabury. Checking in 29.
Now the Panthers bringing on some new faces for the first time on offense. That's going to be Michael Ronan, Aiden Kelly, 28 and 29 on your screen. Luke Morissette still out there looking to be driving this offense. And number 34, Patrick Seabury.
Yeah, so I think the Panthers now recognize that the Trojans are putting in their subs now, and so the Panthers are putting some of their guys in there to get some more playing time.
That one's going to be turned over. That one's going to go on number 12, Grant Cavan, the senior attackman from San Jose, California. And now we're going to see the Trojans in their attacking half for the first time in what seems like an eternity. As there's a shot on goal, but wide right. Jason Bollinger's gaze was enough to scare that one away.
Yeah, you saw those deafening eyes in the back with the flames, and he said, oh, I'm going to just shoot that one to the right side, but credit to Charlie Littleworth for trying to try that anyways and try to get another score here. And the Trojans so far just haven't been looking so organized in this game.
Yeah, obviously we got some new faces, new names to say, obviously, in the defensive side for the Panthers. It's going to be Camden Morris, Shandon Hanamoto. We see Nico Racino sometimes out there, number 17, not now. Jackson Stephen out there. That one going to be buried. The first goal of the second quarter now for the Trojans. That's going to be number 17, Eric Malarczyk, the sophomore from Middleton, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Malarczyk putting a nice shot on Bollinger there. He had no time to react to that shot. That's a rare feat for Bollinger to try to defend. You don't see that too often getting by him, but that was a really great shot there by the Trojans.
Yeah, obviously the bounce shot within the crease, taking it to that top right corner. Beautifully done there from the Trojans as they finally strike back with just 2 minutes remaining in quarter 2 here. Before we see the halftime break, the crowd is absolutely loving this as more and more people pile into the stands.
Looks like we had Darnell Adler back out there on goal now. We saw Pergola earlier in that goal, gave up a few of them, and now they put Adler back in.
Now, if you're the Trojans, obviously it's been a rough go of things here in the second quarter, but a lot better looking than we saw in the first quarter, I would say. Sometimes it's just an unlucky shot. Bringing in some new faces, I think, has worked, as Luke Morissette's working a solo there, as that one is going to go wide right. Grant Cavan is going to bring this ball back in, but I think you're happy if you're Von Nostrand with your team, but going into halftime, you got a lot to work on.
Definitely. They have to really give a little bit of a pep talk to their guys and say, man, we've really let this thing go out of control. We just got to organize things again and really show out why we're one of the best teams in the SLC.
Adler with a big-time save there, obviously clapping at his defense, saying thanks for getting that one out, but that one's going to be picked up at their own X for the Chapman side. Leander Rickers showing why he is a guy you can rely on.
Yeah, we're going to get a little exclusive interview from Nico Schwegler later on at halftime, so stick around for that.
That shot a little bit wide there from number 22, Jack Worth, also known as the Pride of Colorado. But now Grant Cavan back at X, looking to make something happen with just 43 seconds left. Grant Cavan looking to be just waiting for the call from the referees. Seem to be chatting about something.
I think they're fixing the shot clock right now to 6-0. It's at 57 right now. Or I might as well just turn it off because it is 42 seconds, obviously.
It's right. You know, usually you do that in basketball or something like that. You just worry about the game clock, but, you know, something about it.
Something about those fangled devices.
Looks like the Panthers are going to be taking their time here. Jack Worth backing up almost to the 35-yard line. Now working inside to Morissette. Morissette rips wide right to Grant Cavan. And the possession will be maintained by the Panthers, but it did look like Adler had his stick a little bit farther, personally. But I'm not down there on the field.
I mean, I feel Adler on those shots, trying to get it out there. He's got to be frustrated as a goalie out there today, but obviously being a freshman, you can't have too high expectations.
Ooh, that pass broken up. Jack Worth to Morissette as the game clock will finally run out. Halftime score, Panthers 12, Trojans 2. The Panthers have successfully matched their score from last year's game against the Trojans in one half. Obviously, Joel Callis has got to be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm certainly, for sure he is. And I know that was kind of the strategy. And they played a game on Friday against Minnesota, so they had a little bit of time to rest on that Saturday like yesterday. The Trojans came in here, played Minnesota, so they already played their game 7 p.m. last night. So they didn't really get a whole lot of time to really get some rest. They only had about a total of, 10 hours before they came into this one coming out here. So I'm sure they're tired and gassed out there for sure.
And thankfully the game was on a Sunday, because I know all too well that drive on a Friday down from LA is probably one of the worst things on planet Earth. But let's talk about one of the best things on planet Earth. It's being here at CSBN, being able to be here and broadcast for you all. Obviously being up here in the booth with Justin, it's an absolute pleasure. But let's go down to the sideline where Nico Schwegler is going to have a little bit of some information for us before we go into our halftime package.
Thank you so much, Dan. And just an update on Trojans number 18, Antoine Motes. Looks like he's going to be out for the rest of this game. Had that ice on the hamstring, as you guys mentioned. Big loss for the Trojans, but a big gain for this Panthers defense, which has been on fire. Dating back to these past 3 games, they have not allowed more than 5 goals in a game. They're well on track to do that after only allowing in a pair in this first half. It was an unbelievable showing from Bollinger, Rickers, and the rest of this defensive unit, and it's going to be interesting seeing how the Trojans are able to respond out of this locker room. Sending it back to you guys for the second half.
Well, thank you so much, Nico. Obviously, he's right about that. The defense has been no shortage of perfect almost at this point.
Yeah, and they haven't really controlled too much against the Panthers. We knew it coming into this one, that expectation of the Panthers being the fast break points, being one of the best offenses out there as well. We saw that throughout the first half. And we can take a look at some of those highlights as well and just watch just how perfection, talk about that Bob Ross. We talked about the field is their canvas and throwing it out there. And just so far, they've really controlled it against the USC Trojans. And obviously, Motes being absent, it's tough. They had that early score in the first quarter. They had a lot of energy coming into this one. Like we talked about, not a whole lot of rest time for sure. And then the Panthers took control of it, took the reins, and right now they're on track to really come away with this thing with a lot of breathing room to speak of.
Yeah, obviously we've seen a couple guys be really strong. Luke Morissette We've seen guys like Jack Worth putting balls into the back of the net, and obviously some great saves from both goalies, Bollinger and Adler. But I want to talk about one of our key players. Obviously, Leander Rickers. We've said his name a couple times during this broadcast, but I think we're going to see a lot more of him in the second half.
Yeah, we will. And obviously being the captain out there, we talked about him as a versatile asset to this team. He's perfect, guy for the captain spot. And we're going to see a little bit more later as we talk about that package and transitioning into that a little bit more, as Nico talked about earlier.
Yeah, we actually had the opportunity to send our sideline reporter, Nico Schwegler, to talk with Leander Rickers about his time playing for this team and ask him some fun questions. Let's go take a look at that right now.
What's up, y'all? My name's Nico Schwegler with CSBN, and today we're with Leander Rickers, one of the senior captains for this year's men's lacrosse team here at Chapman. Leander, how you doing so far today?
Good, having a great day.
We're just going to keep on moving along because we got some more fun questions lined up for you here today, Leander. Let's keep going, guys. All right, guys, we're at Bruxy's now. Leander, you feeling hungry?
I am.
I mean, they got some great food here. Let's dive into it, and we'll keep this interview going. We'll just get into your life story, kind of what led you to Chapman and what led you to lacrosse in particular.
I played a lot of sports growing up. I played lacrosse when I was growing up, played water polo, played soccer. In high school, I sort of decided to focus on water polo, and I got recruited to play water polo here at Chapman. And after my sophomore year, I decided to step away from the water polo team. And I lived with a bunch of lacrosse guys, and they invited me out to the team, and I said, I played this when I was growing up, it's sort of a good group of guys, so I tried out, made the team, and now I'm sort of here as a senior. So I have a strong work ethic, and I worked every day, and I know the success and the history that this team has brought, so I want to sort of add to that. Trying to spend as much time with teammates as possible, since I know it's my last semester here, and I'm just trying to make the best of every moment I can. I think Luke Morissette is probably the funniest guy on the team. I think he's got a lot of energy, and he's a great lacrosse player, and he brings sort of a perfect balance of being funny and also being a good aspect to our team. Jack Worth, I think he's got good style, and he's got good style on the field too. So he's got the arm sleeves and the leg sleeves and good eye black. So I think Jason knows a lot about the sport, and I think he loves the sport a lot. And I think being a goalie, you're able to see the whole field all the time. So I think just sort of being able to maneuver defenses, and I think he's going to be a great coach one day.
All right, we're all finished up here at Bruxy's. Leander, how do you enjoy that food?
It's been amazing. I mean, I love this place, and I'm so glad it's so close to campus.
I mean, obviously, staple here at Chapman University. But I've been Nico Schwegler, this has been Leander Rickers, and be sure to stay tuned for the rest of men's lacrosse coming this year on CSBN. See ya.
welcome back to our coverage of today's game. The Chapman Panthers taking on the University of Southern California Trojans. I'm Dan Batson, your play-by-play commentator, joined by the wonderful, the amazing, the talented Justin Lee. Justin, thanks for joining us once again. Obviously, we've got a game on our hands, but the first half was all Chapman.
Well, I got to feel a little humbled there. I got to say a little Dumbledore humbleness there. That was a lot there. But, yeah, so far in this game, it's 12-2 right now. The Panthers have been really running up the score here against the Trojans. We haven't seen too much, from the Trojans out here. Obviously, this team has got a lot of young talent on this team, but not much. We've seen a couple of injuries from this club as well. We had our key player, Antoine Motes, out there. He came off with a hamstring injury, and now he's off to the side with an ice bag. They got to really figure out how to rally together and get this team going. And I know Coach Jake Van Ostrand has that experience as a head coach to be that guy.
Yeah, and obviously you can see him there, Antoine Motes, probably talking with an assistant there, but we're going to get right back into it. We've got another entire half of men's lacrosse to play. The Panthers taking on the Trojans. Like I said, it's now 12-2. 30 minutes of game time. The face-off, Michael Morrison. Riley Booth, here we go. Michael Morrison winning that one. Ball still on the ground, and Michael Morrison finally picks it up. Now the Panthers have some options. Line changes first.
And so now they're going to take it a little slow here now, especially starting off this in the second half with number 33, Adam McDonald. Thought he was going to go towards the goal, but just a lot of time for his guys to get off and make some substitutions. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot here with the Panthers now. Obviously up by a lot. It's just killing the clock.
Yep, obviously we got some of those faces that we're used to seeing out there. Rocco Reginali, Luke Morissette, Josh Vamond, obviously Jack Worth, and of course number 33, Adam McDonald, Grant Cavan as well. Those are our attacking guys at line. That shot by Rocco is a great save by Adler, but the ball's still loose on the crease. Now he finally takes it. And here we go. The Trojans now looking to push the pace. Great defense by the Panthers so far. Bringing out a long stick midi. Just trying to make life hard. That's number 9. Camden Morris ripping in to the Trojans' attack. And he's going to come off. That's number 22 for the Trojans. That's Joe Reese, the junior.
Yeah, he's coming out. And also, number 33, Adam McDonald just walked off limping, and now he's down on the ground as well. So we're seeing a flurry of injuries here early in this game, and this being just the first conference game, obviously these games matter the most, but it's just a question of whether, especially in these games where you're up by a lot of scores, like, do you continue to have your starters out there in these games like this, or do you throw your subs out there to give them a little bit more time and give you your starters rest? Because especially for the Panthers, after they play USC, they're going to have to go play number 12, Florida, number 4, Utah Valley, number 18, Arizona, Virginia Tech at number 1, and then
Wow.
Liberty U number 7. That's a long stretch of games.
Yeah, and all ranked opponents as well. It is not going to be a walk in the park for those guys. It's now the Trojans passing the ball well, much better than we saw here in the first half. Still looking to find something here.
Yeah, we didn't see a whole lot of organization from this Trojans team in that second half. And like we said, there we go. A lot of miscommunication, a lot of mishaps, and we saw a little bit of a glimpse there and just not enough.
Yeah, obviously we talked about it coming out of the halftime slate. We talked about this defense being a bit of a problem here for the Trojans. The Panthers obviously just staying disciplined and sending out man defense a lot more than this zone that the Trojans have been running. You got to be thinking maybe at halftime they said let's switch to a little bit more man as they're finally picking up Jack Worth. But that one is buried by Grant Cavan. His first goal of the game. Just 2.5 minutes deep into this second half, and the Panthers extending their lead by yet another goal. Now 11 separates the two.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit of that man defense like you were talking about with the Trojans switching up the strategy on the defensive side, and then Grant Cavan coming around from the X, just took it himself, put it right in front of the eyes of Adler, and when you put it up close like that where the crease is, you have no chance at all at blocking shots like that.
Michael Morrison wins the faceoff, but the ground ball still on the turf. but he finally picks it up. He's got two defenders on him as that ball is dropped by number 33, Adam McDonald. And now the Trojans will take possession.
Checking in 17, Nico.
And so far, we just haven't seen too much from this Trojan team to get something going here. And obviously, they're down a couple of their key players as well. So, you know, we're looking for some guys out here to really step up with this young freshman team and the Trojans.
That's right, Justin. And now, what a run here from the Trojans. Trying to find anything. That was Grant Nelligan. We saw him leave a little bit earlier, but he's back. Now number 6, Hudson Beth, as he will score that one. A great goal there. Cuts around the crease on X and finds a way to bury it on the right-hand side for him, left side of Bollinger.
Yeah, how about that effort from Hudson Booth on the outside perimeter? That's his second goal of the season. A freshman midi out there and diving for it and making an effort. They want to try to get things a little closer, which is, you know, somewhat out of reach so far right now. But right now, that's a highlight reel shot right there.
Yeah, Morrison on the face-off loses that one to Riley Booth. As we're getting physical a little bit more now, especially these long sticks, looking to keep it high and tight, but physicality definitely plays a factor here.
Yeah, be careful
Trojans.
of wild broken sticks. I saw some broken sticks earlier in that second half on the ground.
Cutting inside, tries to go over the top of his defender, but Jason Bollinger hugging that right-hand side or left-hand side of the pipes. That one goes right.
Here's what I like from the Trojans, especially just take more shots. I think it's an okay thing to take more shots on their goal, even if you miss. Your guy out there that's at the X, he can go get the ball, and that's yours.
Ooh, that one buried by number 51 from the Trojans, Jake Diston, the freshman from Miramonte High School, Orinda, California. What a shot from him. Jason Bollinger, maybe a little shaken up after that first goal. That kind of broke this kind of stalemate for them as they are entering the second half with 2 goals now, matching their first half amount in just 4 minutes.
Yeah, I like that shot from Jake Diston there. Now that it's his 4th goal of the season and really challenging. Bollinger is kind of flustered a little bit so far, but that's a rare sight to see.
That ground ball picked up by the Trojans. Face-off won by the Trojans. Let's see what they're trying to do here, as now the Trojans seem to be playing with a little bit more energy, as it looks like Steven Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, picking that one up and taking possession back for the Panthers.
Yeah, Steven Jackson, we haven't seen him too much in this game and making a great defensive effort there against the Trojans players. What are the other team captains for this team? His nickname, Gator.
What a nickname, Gator. What a nickname. Now we're in the half-court set. We have seen so much. And we're just out of it, just like that. Seems to be a penalty called there against the Trojans as that ball is cut loose into the possession of Panthers number 9, Camden Morris, and he drops it. I mean, we're just trading it back and forth here as the whistle blows. Now the Trojans in possession in their half-court set.
Just trying to make peace of what you were looking around there, and everything was just out of wire there.
Yeah, a little confusing there up to see here in the booth, but we are now hearing that the face-off specialist, Cooper Ehlers, may be missing the rest of today's game. Obviously a tough loss there for the Panthers, one of their key guys, but Michael Morrison has filled those shoes well on the face-off as Camden Morris shrugs that one off, says, "You are too little to be body checking me." And now he pokes that one out. Camden Morris all over the field.
Nice, boy.
Picking up a ground ball.
Way to go, Cam.
And now the Panthers can set up in their offense that has been so successful so far.
How about that effort by Camden Morris, making a name for himself with the long stick midi out there. The long stick guy, that's a David and Goliath situation, especially if you go against those normal stick guys out there. Like you said, big-bodied stick.
Now Rocco Reginali, Josh Vomund, Jack Worth, Luke Morissette. Looks like we got number 33, Adam McDonald, and number 12, Grant Cavan. Here we go. Trying to find something, anything here, but a lot better defense. We talked about that man defense coming out. That one scored by number 33, Adam McDonald, off the assist from Luke Morissette, one of our key players. We are also hearing that number 20, Mikey McCarthy, the sophomore from Northfield, Illinois, is coming off of the game. Seems to be holding that hamstring. We talked about that happening to Antoine Motes, the junior from Pasadena, and it seems like injuries are plaguing this game currently, Justin.
Yeah, so far. And you look at the replay here earlier from Adam McDonald on this goal, just getting it above the eyes of Adler. Great shot there. And we mentioned this, the fact that the Trojans just played a game yesterday, so a lot of that rest comes important in such games like this, and obviously we're seeing a lot of more injuries out here because of that lack of rest in between these games.
Yeah, I think the fatigue is definitely playing a factor, as we've still got 8.5 minutes here to play in this third quarter. Much more competitive now as we see the Trojans striking back with 2 goals of their own. They're set in their attacking half now. That's number 14, Kenton Wilson, with the ball. Now to number 42, Charlie Littleworth. That shot ripped from far out, number 23, Grant Nelligan, but picked up by the iron wall, Jason Bollinger. Should say the Pearl wall. Obviously, he did get that award.
Yeah, Pearl goalie of the week, obviously getting the considerations for one of the best in the nation, and obviously so. Jason Bollinger being one of the best, if not the best, in Chapman Panthers history as one of those goalies.
Yeah, Jason Bollinger, the senior from Yorba Linda, the hometown hero, you might say, as now the Trojans look to push the pace of play. He's got a man open, but decides to take it solo, staying upright. And now the whistle blows as the Trojans take a timeout. I think that's an interesting call there from Van Nostrand, I'm sorry, to take a timeout when you're, it seemed like almost a man up on that pace.
Yeah, they had pace to go for a shot there on goal, and then obviously they called a timeout there. Interesting play here by Van Nostrand, but I think the strategy here is just resetting their guys and saying maybe we need to take a structured approach here. We see that sometimes in basketball, especially when your players are out of line, you want to reset your guys, even if you have the possession. Reset the possession, because you will start with the ball obviously after the timeout, and then attack Jason Bollinger on the outside.
You know, obviously, he's maybe talking about some different plays there. Now he goes, and then we can see Rickers taking the helmet off, walking off to the sideline a little bit. But yeah, we were talking about it earlier. We're talking about the fatigue, talking about the injuries. Obviously, Antoine Motes and now Mikey McCarthy both dealing with hamstring injuries. You got to think those are some of the guys that you're looking to go through on offense, and now they're gone. Maybe that's why you take the time out there. Maybe you want to talk about, you know, some of the guys who haven't had as many touches. What do you do in this situation?
Yeah, and they're trying to figure themselves out, too. Like we talked about at the very beginning of the broadcast, is finding that new groove. Like, they found that new groove yesterday against Minnesota. They've won in a very close one, 10-9 in that game yesterday. And obviously, they're going to be looking for that new groove. This freshman team, it's a lot, especially with the youth out here. It's tough when you throw them in these situations, especially in Division I sports like this.
Yeah, obviously, we did see Leander walking away from the defensive huddle there, you know, separating between defense and offense. Got to wonder maybe where he's going. Maybe he's feeling some of those same injuries we've been talking so much about today.
I think one of the things that we've been noticing is that hamstring injury. We talked about it with the injury with USC. You know, they're running around the field a lot out there, so that hamstring kind of comes into play a lot when you're running across the field multiple different times.
Yeah, not only running, but stopping on a dime, obviously, trying to keep up with these attackers that are using the pivot foot, trying to do some spin moves, going some up and overs. It can be tough, but we're seeing a lot of limping. Now we're back, and the Trojans looking to score here. Had a timeout to maybe talk strategy, maybe talk about the way that they're going to go about this, maybe setting some picks, setting some cutters, working around X a little bit more, or maybe just a solo play here. That one caught right over the crease. That is Troy Kennedy, the junior from Newport Harbor, a local. He said his locals only around these parts. Now Jason Bollinger running the defense, and now we're setting up back into our offense here for the Panthers. 6.5 minutes to go.
That's where that versatility of the long stick midi position, that's kind of developed over the years in the game of lacrosse, and obviously that being the far extension of the arm there, and that's becoming a more prevalent position for a lot of these sports, almost like a scrum half in rugby. That position is really, really making a name for itself in the sport of lacrosse.
Now we're set up, the Panthers looking for an option, running through X, Luke Morissette. I'm sorry, that's number 12, Grant Cavan. Luke Morissette at the top of your screen. That shot, good by number 2, Elijah Brugman. He sets that in. Bottom left-hand corner, Elijah, I believe, with his second or third goal of the game now.
Yeah, setting that up perfectly nice for Brugman and taking that shot, his first shot of the day. Obviously, already 1 goal this season already. Had 7 goals early in 2023, and all 5'9" of them getting it squared away quickly here.
Morrison going to win that one once again. Cooper off the field for the Panthers. He has taken his job as the face-off specialist and absolutely dominated there. Now, the Panthers yet again on the left-hand side of your screen, attacking left. Seems like we've seen it almost all too much today. Now number 29 for the Panthers, taking it solo. He says, let me do it on my own. Aiden Kelly from Corona Del Mar adds to the Chapman's goal tally, making it 15-4.
It's a big job there from Aiden Kelly. Not too much information understood about him. It's kind of a mystery on this team, and obviously getting the goal there, and obviously we're in a situation where they can put those subs out there, and now getting himself a goal out there and making himself a name.
And you can hear a little bit, maybe from the ambient mic, that the goal, the sideline, getting hyped up for that goal. Obviously, he stepped in just for a few seconds and made those few seconds worth it, as now the Trojans take away from that face-off. Number 22 taking it all the way, says, let me one-up you a little bit. That's going to be number 22, Joe Reese, the junior from Amherst, Massachusetts, his second of the game.
The difference in graduate class there, obviously the junior Joe Reese scoring on that goal, and so far the thing that's been working for the Trojans is getting those underneath the leg shots against Jason Bollinger, and obviously responding after that nice goal with Aiden Kelly getting his first one. You saw that celebration on the sideline, almost like baseball when they get their first home run, the clearing of the dugout, and a nice little celebration for his first goal.
That face-off going the way of the Panthers as Camden Morris picks that one up with the long stick. We talked about him being in the midi position, listed as a defenseman, but we've seen him on the face-off a lot, playing around midfield. And it's nice to have him there. Obviously, he's a physical player, big player, especially against this smaller Trojans team. But now the Panthers taking their time. I like the way they're doing this. Obviously, you've got quite the lead. You know, these can change quick, but 11 is quite the margin to bring it back. And I think taking your shot clocks here is a great strategy, probably running through by Callis.
Yeah, they're pushing it a little too much there on that attempt and trying to pass it over to other guys out there, such as Michael Ronan, who also just checked in earlier, getting a little play time here. And Obviously, the Panthers are trying to give these guys some more extra time to be out here. But historically, between these two squads, the Panthers have kind of had the upper hand. Out of the last 10 matchups in their history, the Panthers 9-1 against the USC Trojans.
Looking to keep it that way today as the Panthers get another shot on goal, another ball into the back of the net. That's going to be number 34, Patrick Sebri, the freshman from Lafayette, California. What a legend. The true freshman coming out at the midfield position. Absolutely burying that one behind Adler. Got to be happy with that as now the lead is up to 12.
Yeah, we saw Aiden Kelly get his first goal of the season ever as a freshman. Now we get Patrick Sebri, a freshman, getting his first goal as well. Nothing like the first, as the announcers say.
You can hear the sideline doing it once again. That first goal celebration. You got to be happy with it. I mean, it's only good vibes today. The sun not quite out as much as it was before halftime, but there's no rain. So, I mean, we can't be too mad about it, right?
Yeah, and usually that rain plays a little bit of a factor with the ground ball game, but so far we haven't seen too many drops of water out here on the field, and not too much. But the clouds hasn't really come together to give us that gray color of the sky.
Trojans now in their attacking half for the first time in what feels like a bit 5 minutes. Looking to make something work here, though. Already more goals in this quarter than the entire first half. Something is being done right after the halftime discussion.
Yeah, rightly so. And using a lot of those younger guys as well. We've talked about it multiple times here in this third quarter now. Just giving them some opportunities. And so far, the Panthers have just been able to control these USC Trojans.
That one stuffed up by Rickers, the long stick defenseman who we got to hear from at halftime with Nico Schwegler. We saw him leaving the huddle a bit earlier, but he's back out on the field. Now number 6 for Chapman. That one just off the side of the net. That shot coming from number 6, Charles Beasley, the sophomore from Denver, Colorado. Now the Trojans back in their attacking half. Looking to make something work here with just 2.5 minutes on the clock.
That's some really great awareness there by the Trojans to control that ball there. Why not get some last half shots here going through?
Grant Nelligan there trying to make something work, but didn't quite get it there as that ball was sent wide. And now a timeout there from the Trojans. And you got to be thinking now, taking a timeout, 2 minutes left in this quarter, obviously a whole nother quarter to play, but you're down 12. You got to be thinking, what is Van Nostrand saying in that huddle?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have a lot of winning experience. 2-1 in the playoff record for Jake Van Nostrand's sheet there. 1-1 tournament record for the SLC. He's a 2-time national champion with Gettysburg College in Division III, 2-time All-American. So he's got the experience and the level of process to be able to take these things. Just take a little bit at a time. Even though this game might be falling out of hand, you know, this is great experience for a young team like this. And I know, it's a little discouraging against a team that's, number 3 as well out there. It's tough as well. But, for so far the Panthers have just really controlled these things. And we've seen this a lot. And, the past few, like last season, 239 points to 125, outscoring regular season opponents. One of the best teams out here for sure. And they pretty much almost reached that same high goal percentage like they did on Friday against Minnesota. 18 points in that one. We're very close to this one. They could very easily take that one out of the water.
Yeah, obviously this weekend has been the weekend of offense, but not just for one specific player. Obviously, Joel Callis sharing the love a little bit, making sure his team is spreading the wealth from the goals tally for sure. We've had a great variety of different guys putting the ball into the back of the net today, and especially on Friday against Minnesota. I mean, this is just a weekend you can be happy about. Nonetheless, as you're just asking the guys to close this one out now with 2 minutes left in this quarter, and just one more block of 15 to close us out in the fourth. But Remember, you're watching all of this live on the Chapman Sports Broadcast Network. You can catch us on all of our socials at CSBN Live, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, maybe even an email box. You know, anywhere you can get your news, anywhere you can get your social media, you can find us. CSBN Live. Remember, up in the booth, you've got myself, Dan Batson, joined by the wonderful Justin Lee. Great crew out here today, working the cameras in the control room. Producing for us, Maddie Miller. Directing, Nathaniel Rudolph. Shout out to them. And thank you for joining us.
We got the best in the house working this broadcast today. And obviously, they've been working a couple broadcasts back-to-back. We had one Friday, we had one Saturday, and now we got this one to finish off this Lacrosse Palooza weekend.
Now both men's and women's lacrosse is that shot. Goes high. And now it's going to be Camden Morris bringing the ball back for the Panthers. Happy with that possession for sure.
You talked about this weekend for the Panthers. They've really they've been winning. You know, the men's team won against Minnesota. Then we talked about yesterday as well with the women's lacrosse team beating out Occidental. And
an amazing comeback to be able to be there and watch it. An amazing comeback.
21 cards. That was an aggressive game yesterday, as what I hear.
Yeah, lots of stoppage there. Definitely not as much stoppage here in today's game. Obviously, only a couple flags, only one man up time here going towards the Panthers. But the game has been very physical, as we've been saying. A couple injuries here. As now the Panthers back in their attacking half can play around the shell. Use X maybe a little bit more. We haven't seen it too much as Luke Morissette on the solo. Panthers working inside. That's number 29, Aiden Kelly. Back to Morissette.
I think one of the preview things for this Panthers team is just seeing how many points they're able to run up against these teams, right? Like, obviously, they kept it close last season against this USC Trojans team, who also had an interesting season, 5-10. They didn't get what they wanted last season, 2-5 in conference, missed the SLC tournament. The last time they won the SLC was in 2022 against GCU in a 16-5 game in 2022, and obviously they've been up there. They know how to win, and obviously this season's just been a weird anomaly.
Yeah, now Jack Worth coming onto the field. It looks like the whistle was blown possibly on Adler there. Looks like maybe it was an issue with an offsides, but Adler launched that ball almost to the moon to the attacking half there, and it looked like it's coming all the way back, but still Trojans possession. Just 21 seconds remaining here in this third quarter. As you can see, Van Nostrand there on the sideline.
I know we're trying to send people back to the moon. If they ever see a mark that looks like a lacrosse symbol on the ground, you know why.
Now the Trojans set up. That shot saved by Bollinger as the time will run out, or almost run out, just 0.4 seconds remaining. You got to think there would be a miracle here, but it looks like they're just going to leave it there and let the clock run out.
Everyone just having fun out there. You see Hanamoto with a smile on his face.
There it goes. As the clock will run out there on the third quarter, now we enter the final 15 minutes of this game. I mean, again, a domination there from the Panthers, but big steps, big strides there from the Trojans.
Yeah, some big steps here. Some of the newer guys, they've had to deal with a lot of, different patterns as well. We talked about, they're dealing with a lot of injuries, this short amount of rest time that they have. So you're putting them out there in a really tough situation. They face off against the number 3 team in the nation who are going on to go play some really big games out here. Obviously, this is not the end of the road for the USC Trojans. They got a lot of room to improve with this young, talented team.
Yeah, but what's great is we've got an amazing sideline reporter in Nico Schwegler, who's got a key interview for us. Nico, what do you got for us down there at the field?
Thank you so much, Dan. And I'm here with Coach Callis. Coach, what a great game it's been so far for you guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. This season has been incredible for you guys, not allowing more than 5 goals. Obviously, still a quarter to go, but what has been so impressive about this D block to you?
We've definitely been taking care of the ball, and we're on defense. We're sliding to support, and we're backed by that Jason Bollinger, who's playing really well between the pipes. And, you know, when we do get a stop, we're clearing the ball really well, and our offense is taking care of the rock on that side. So it's been good.
I mean, that's always great to hear. But on the flip side, this offense sort of got off to a slow start to begin this season, but these past 2 games have really picked it up. What have they done really these past 2 games to really flip that switch and get it going in front of goal?
Well, we've been maintaining reaching that spacing on offense. You know, when we get too cluttered, there's not open looks. So the more we're spaced, the more the crease opens up. And, you know, a guy like Adam McDonald on the crease has been bearing a lot of rocks. And we have shooters on the outside, which stretches them outside. So we're very well balanced, I'd say.
That's great. Good luck with the 4th quarter, Coach. Thank you so much. Great on the season. All right, I'll be sending it back up to you guys in the booth.
Schwegler for that amazing interview with head coach Joel Callis. I've had the opportunity to have a couple conversations with him, and he really appreciates our work here, and we really appreciate him. I mean, he's taken this team to amazing places, especially last year, like you said, 17-4. Starting this season, 4-0, what looks to be maybe, I don't want to speak too soon, might be 5-0. And I know that might be a bold take here as we start this 4th quarter, 17-5. Justin, what are we thinking?
I mean, I turned off my TV when the Falcons played the Patriots in that Super Bowl, but obviously turned it back on when the Patriots were coming back. So yeah, never say never. Who knows when it happens? I mean, there's only 1 quarter left, but we've seen crazier things happen in life.
You know what? I like that analysis. We got to wonder who's going to be the Tom Brady of this Trojans team, but now we're going to see the attacking unit here for the Panthers. Worth, Beaumond, Morissette, Reginali, McDonald, and Cavan. Those 6 guys, I've said their names quite a few times as Rocco Reginali buries that one into the top right corner of the net. Rocco getting his first goal of the game, making it now 18-5. Honestly, probably one of the most fun names I can say up here in the booth. Rocco, a great shot from him there on the drive. This replay shows you just that. The fake, and takes him high side. Seems like Adler bought that he was going bottom left. Rocco, the true freshman from Bellarmine College Prep in Los Gatos, California. Now 14 minutes remain. And that looks like number 99 on the faceoff there. That's going to be Cody Shevelson, the faceoff specialist from Berkeley, California. Didn't want to be a Golden Bear, wanted to be a Panther. And I think he chose right.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see some playing time against his childhood team with the Golden Bears, and then obviously him being from that area didn't give him that chance. And yeah, I think he made the right choice, right? Panthers beating the Bears in that game. I saw that game earlier with our silent reporter Nico Schwegler earlier in the season with that 11-12 victory.
Yeah, that one definitely a tighter margin than today's game. Now 18-5 as Gator coming onto the field and instantly making an impact. He's one of those short stick, defense middies that can kind of play almost anywhere on the field. Trojans looking for something right now. Panthers defense still playing that man. A great pass there.
Yeah, you mentioned those short stick defensive middies earlier, and that's another position that's developing in the game.
That's a great shot from SC's number 23, Grant Nelligan, the sophomore from Denver, Colorado. We've been able to say his name a couple times as he gives us a little bit of a strum on the guitar. That one is good. Obviously, Grant Nelligan trying to get this team fired up. What a beautiful replay there from outstanding team here at CSBN. Grant Nelligan.
The second highest scoring player on this team, obviously taking in the spot of Antoine Motes, who's obviously out of this game now and getting himself another goal there. So he might be another big talent for this team as we watch them going down the stretch as they get prepared to play Utah Tech actually on Tuesday.
Man, just this no breaks for this USC Trojans team. Obviously playing yesterday, playing today, playing Tuesday. You got to think, how are they recovering? How are they taking care of themselves, especially the guys who have been sitting out tonight? Antoine Motes, one of those guys because of that hamstring injury.
Yeah, you talk about that opportunity to find a break there, and they get a break, a pretty long one. The next game they play after Utah Tech will be against a ranked San Diego State team on Sunday, March 24th. So about 2-week break there for them.
A ranked San Diego State that has yet to lose this season, 5-0. We talked about that in the pregame. Bit of a funny moment there. The ball got stuck in one of their pads in between the helmet and the pads, as there's a pretty bad turnover there from the Panthers. Now giving the Trojans the opportunity to cut this lead down back to 11. It stayed between that 12 to 11 range throughout this game since about the middle of the second quarter. Just under 12 minutes to play on this gray day in Orange, California. Chapman Men's Lacrosse brought to you live on CSBN. And you got to think, you know, some of these guys are playing their hearts out and got to go home and do homework. You know, these guys aren't just playing the sport. They're student athletes. Remember, they are all donation run. They are not a Chapman sport, or a Chapman club sport. These guys are just passionate for the game, and you can really see it. These guys play their hearts out. Great guys. And here we go. That ball dropped around midfield, and now the ground ball goes to the Trojans. You got to think that now the Panthers making a few mistakes here and there. But so are the Trojans, as that ball is turned over around midfield once again. Picked up by number 14, Kenton Wilson, the senior. And he's going to drop that ball, and now picked up by the Trojans. It's looking like a circus around the 40-yard lines here on Wilson Field. The crowd still lively, still packed. Nice to see people showing up and showing out for friends and family. That's what the sport's all about. Sportsmanship and being able to play the game you love for the people you love. As it looks like Adler will be coming out for Pergola. Switching the goalies around once again. We've seen that substitution 2 or 3 times now after Adler went down early in the first.
I mean, you still want to give him a lot of play time, obviously, and Pergola is going to need a little bit more because they need to check out that injury that we were talking about earlier on Adler that we saw in that first quarter, second quarter, and it's been interesting so far. This game is just hasn't been in the way of the Trojans, but they got a lot to build off of this for sure.
You got to be happy if you're the coaching staff for Chapman, and I think you're still pretty happy if you're the coaching staff, like you said, for the Trojans. Taking some learning experiences from this. You're playing against one of the best teams you could play against, not too far away. The car ride home should be pretty quick on a Sunday afternoon. Number 28 beats his man. That's going to be Michael Ronan, the freshman from Laguna Niguel, California, unassisted. Beats his man and brings it into the inside. What a goal for Michael Ronan.
Yeah, the freshman out of Laguna Niguel, California, all 5'8" of him getting that goal, and that's another freshman today on that list that's getting a goal. Patrick Sheeby, you get a goal. Aiden Kelly, you get a goal. A lot of newer names out here on this team getting it out here today.
And you can see the sideline hyping him up, giving him the silent treatment at first, but they know it's his first. Getting active. Lots to cheer about for the Chapman Panthers and the Panther fans. Now 19-6, 9.5 minutes to go.
And that makes it easier for your team, right? You know, those are the guys that are going to be taking over for a lot of these upperclassmen as the years go by. And when you have games that are going out of hand like this and put them out there, gives them enough to experience, and you can build off of that for the years down the road. And I understand that Joel Callis knows what that feeling is like. Being one of those long-time coaches in the place of Dallas Hartley, one of the long-time tenured coaches here at Chapman University, obviously MCLA Hall of Famer as well.
Yeah, the Panthers have known nothing but success for quite a long time, as Camden Wilson will break that one up, and the crowd really getting into it now as the defense continues to stifle the Trojans here.
I just want to mention how, surreal this is to talking about the Panthers and the USC Trojans, like we talked about in the beginning of the broadcast, of just how surreal that sentence even works, and the fact that the Panthers are also up here, because we don't get this every day. We don't get this type of feeling with the, obviously this school being a Division III school. You don't get to play many opportunities against Division I schools like this.
Nope, not at all. Obviously, we are a Division III school. We play Division III teams, member of the SCIAC, and, the Trojans being a member of the Pac-12, well, Used to be. We didn't get to see them too often, but obviously when you got one of the best men's lacrosse teams in the country, you know, they make the trip down the I-5 like Nika was talking about earlier, and it truly is a blessing to be able to be up here in the booth with you, Justin. It's an amazing game to be calling it with you, and it's an absolute honor to be calling it for CSBN.
Yeah, and we get to call it on such a beautiful field, beautiful place. Keck Center in the background, the sun shining off the windows, the crowd's under the shade, a lot of family time out here. Oh.
2 flags thrown from that ref. It looks like a check in the back on Michael Ronan, but they're going to keep possession, continue to play on, as that one now deflected.
I didn't know you could have 2 flags in your hand. I thought he was a magician pulling the little sleeves, colored sleeves out of his hat there, and he's got 2 of them.
Yeah, maybe it'll turn into a bunny next, but for now, it looks like it'll be a man-up situation for the Chapman Panthers for an illegal block in the back. We're going to see what the ref says.
Yeah, we also, you talked about magic. We saw a little bit of a hat trick for Luke Morissette today. He's got 3 goals today so far in this game, and pretty much a lot of the veteran guys out here. Josh Roman's got a goal. Grant Cavan has a goal. Liza Bruggeman has a goal. Cooper, even Holden Walker has a goal. And then even the faceoff specialist, Michael Morrison, got a goal. We saw that one. That was a fantastic play earlier in this game.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. And he threw 2 flags because it's going to be 2 30-second penalties. It'll be 2-man up here for the Panthers off of that one play. And now you got to really play a zone. A lot more white jerseys than red jerseys out there now.
Yeah, this is a rare sight to see. You don't see this very often.
30 seconds to work with. Might call it a power play, might call it man up. That one shot over. That's 22, Jack Worth. And we do have a new goalkeeper coming in for Jason Bollinger. That's Jack Duffy, the sophomore from Justin Siena High School in Napa.
Yeah, he had 0 games played last season, was a new freshman. Actually had some playing time against Minnesota, gave up 3 goals in that game, but get him some extra experience in case Jason Bollinger ever goes down throughout the stretch of the season coming up.
Now Morissette working with Vomund and Worth. That one buried by number 12, Grant Cavan. Said his name a few times today from San Jose, California. Cavan making his name. And now the Panthers walking off the field once again, now 20-6.
We got a barbell celebration down on the sidelines over there with the Panthers using the sticks as they got some 45 weight pounders out there. Some of the players using that celebration out there.
Yeah, you got to wonder, you know, these guys are quick, but they're also hitting the weight room. These guys are not little by any means. You got to be thinking, how many wheels are they throwing on the barbell when they're doing the bench press? I know it's probably more than me.
Well, if you wanted to know, Bowman's got a video on the Panthers lacrosse Instagram of him doing 405-pound squats. So this team is tough.
Yeah, I think I do that in my dreams. Josh Bowman does it in real life. Now the Trojans looking to score, and they do just not that. Looks like it was around the outside. Maybe thought it got away, but just a bit wide right there for the Trojans. Now taking it out of bounds will be number 31 for them.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Fink thought he had a goal for himself, and it kind of rolled on the side of the goal and then kind of out. And now the Trojans are also kind of confused, trying to wonder, did we score that one? And I guess things just didn't happen.
And now number 14 controlling the ball. That's Kenton Wilson. He's being swallowed up by the Chapman defense. Got Charlie Littleworth and number 31, Elliot Jones. And he is checked over by the 31 of the Panthers. Going to be a penalty there on Tyler Pandis, the freshman from Ladera Ranch.
Ladera Ranch, that's my local area. That's where I grew up. I got to go shake his hand later.
You ever heard of Tesoro High School?
Tesoro High School, yeah.
Yeah, that's where he went.
Oh, man. All right, I got to go shake that man's hand later. I mean, there was an easy call for the ref there. He had a high stick, knocked the helmet off of Elliott Jones on that last play there, and obviously that's going to be an easy call. So this will be a man-up situation for the Trojans after that. Not an interesting way to introduce a guy from my area like that.
Yeah, obviously in the box a little bit. Having his teammates giving him a high five or two to say it's all right, shake it off, go again next time. But I mean, you got to be talking about how well the Panthers have played. You know, we'll probably have an MVP by the end of this, but you know, I would say there's multiple different options for MVP. I mean, we've had a lot of guys. We've said a lot of different names tonight. They're sharing the love. Not one person's been taken over.
Whoa, I just saw a backhanded pass there from Elliott Jones. We were waiting for that one all day. We've seen a couple of backhanded goals last season. Haven't seen too many this year, but yeah, like you said earlier, we're talking about some of the MVPs for this Chapman Panthers team. Leander was one of our guys for the key players. He's had himself a day as well. We talked about some of those freshmen. We can even call them MVPs of this game as well. And obviously Luke Morissette, one of our other key players, getting 3 goals with a hat trick today. It's been all Panthers so far.
You can say that again as the lead is now 14, 20-6 Panthers. 4 minutes, 15 seconds to go as that one just a bit wide from number 28 for the Chapman Panthers. That would be Michael Ronan. We talked about him scoring his first goal just about 5 minutes previously. Now here we go, that the Panthers still working the ball well, trying to find a way to break through this zone defense. They've been successful on the solo option. Michael Ronan doing the same here. He's trying to find an option. Can't find it yet. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Got to take a shot here. And a great save from Eli Pergola, but it's lost. And another great save right in front of the net. Eli Pergola, the freshman, representing the Trojans here today from San Francisco, California. Obviously missed a couple saves earlier in the game, but that's 2 big-time saves as we enter just the last 3 minutes of this fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was calculated, it felt like, from Eli on that shot there. Henry Crow trying to find his first goal of the season, and then, you know, Eli saw that and said, no more today.
That ball's loose, but not picked up just yet. Still not picked up, still bobbling, and the Trojans end up getting that one. Should be routine, but not quite yet there for the Panthers. Got to be pretty happy with the performance today as that ball's loose. Fighting for it is the Panther, and now they're falling over. Huge pickup. Denies the option there. That's number 19, Agostino Pirazzi. Another nice name to say, Agostino Pirazzi from Long Beach, California. Still local. Cool to see that a lot of these guys are reigning from California and some guys from Orange County. I like to say Long Beach is like half Orange County, half LA. I know it's close to LA, but I don't know. Whenever I go there, it feels more like Orange County, you know?
I think you're right about that. There definitely is an Orange County vibe to it. And then you look at some areas, you also get a little bit more of an LA vibe as well from Long Beach, especially if you go to the harbor, that's for sure. A little bit more of an LA vibe.
But, you know, like the Queen Mary, you know, that's like an Orange County thing. That's not an LA thing, you know?
Right.
Now the Panthers getting a little bit more physical here. Lots of freshmen out on the field for them now. No Worth, no Morissette. That one stopped before getting to Pergola. Trojans really locking down on defense now.
We got another injured Trojan down on the sidelines here. Get an update on who that is in just a minute.
You know, if we're talking about jerseys here, I do think that USC has one. You really can't beat those classic colors, but you know, sometimes the clean white's nice too.
That's for sure. I made an argument earlier that the Chapman Panthers have one of the best helmet designs.
Ooh, that shot is good for number 51 for the Trojans. That's Jake Diston from Miramonte High School, the true freshman. buries one in the bottom right corner. Obviously, the new goalie out there for them. That's going to be Jack Duffy, giving up 1 goal. Now 20-7. Just 54 seconds remaining.
Obviously, we have a different look to this team with the Panthers putting a lot of the subs out there, and including the Trojans out there as well, with Jake Disson getting his goal. His first one of the season, actually, for this Trojans team. And
that face-off going in favor of the Trojans. We were talking about another injury earlier. That's Riley Booth. It's one of the middies that has been doing a lot of face-offs for the Trojans this game. He is now on the sideline, taking the gloves off and the helmet off. Not too sure what that injury is, but we wish him a quick and healthy recovery. Antoine Motes as well. I believe we had number 22, Joe Reese, as well, all receiving injuries this game.
Yeah, that's tough, especially when they have to play a game on Tuesday.
Ooh, that one is good. The stick goes up in the air. That is number 17, Eric Malarchik, the sophomore midfielder from Middleton, Massachusetts. Been able to say his name a couple times today. I believe that is his 3rd goal, making it the only hat trick for the Trojans. Here's the replay of that. Breaks through the defense, and a great shot to go bottom left. Up and over.
Obviously, we have a couple of new guys out here, so the Trojans are taking advantage of that a little bit more, getting closer to that halfway mark with the lead here. Obviously, 20-8, they have to overcome, and not too much time left. We got counting down.
Yeah, just 5 seconds remaining, and this one is going to be all she wrote. The Chapman Panthers taking a deciding win, 20-8, on the homestand here at Wilson Field. I mean, there's really nothing negative you can really say about this game, to be quite honest with you. A couple goals scored on Jason Bollinger, but like you said, a lot of them close to the creases. Now the guys are rolling out to the goal. Maybe going to shake some hands.
Yeah, so far today we saw a dominant Chapman Panthers team. We've seen that so far in this hot start that they had. Last season, they didn't have this type of hot start last year. They obviously faltered a little bit, and then they, that kind of helped them a little bit, just building it up. But now they're building off of what that semifinals MCLA tournament season was like. There's a fire under this team. You can tell, especially when they play against Division I opponents like this, against USC.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's just a great game for the Panthers and for Panther fans. Obviously, a lot of people in the crowd here to see this team on this Sunday afternoon game. But, Justin, it's been amazing to call this game with you. But let's talk about players who really had an impact on the ball today. I think for me, it's Luke Morissette. We talked about him in the pre-show, and he ran the offense today for the Panthers.
Yeah, he definitely did. Obviously had a hat trick today to add to his name. Leander Rickers also had a fantastic day. We had some injuries out there on the field, and people were stepping up left and right, especially on the face-off. We saw a fantastic goal there. We usually don't see that very often in such games like this. We've seen a lot. Jackson Worth, Jackson Stevens, Gator. We've seen it all today.
Yeah, and I think if we're going to talk about people who are making a difference off the field, I want to give a big shout out to Greg Kennedy, who just sits right across from us in the other room. He is the PA announcer for us and has great calls, great names for everybody over there. But we want to go down to the sideline, where our sideline reporter, Nico Schwegler, has an interview with our MVP of tonight's game, Luke Morissette. Oh, okay. Otherwise, Nico Schwegler still waiting on that interview, but honestly, Greg Kennedy just talking to us a little bit about what it means to be up here in the booth. What a great guy.
Certainly does, and they do a fantastic job out here calling these, and we get a lot of tips from them because we don't get a whole lot of information from this lacrosse team. That's a Wikipedia page right there about what this lacrosse team is like, and they offer us a lot. And obviously, you were taking a lot of those nicknames and trying to use that a lot to your advantage, and they give us all of our key information that we need for these broadcasts, and they are great help, and they're certainly going to see plenty of them this season.
That's right. It's a team effort on the field, but also up here in the booth. Let's take a look at those full game highlights that we have built for you here at CSBN so we can see some of those crazy plays that we got to see tonight. Obviously, a couple great goals. That one started off the game. You thought maybe, whoa, we might see a different kind of Trojans team here today, but it was quickly shut down. Jason Bollinger making a big save there.
Yeah, obviously a slow start here to Jason Bollinger's day, and then, the Trojans came out here with a lot of great shots, and we also saw some very athletic ones from this young freshman team, but obviously it just wasn't enough to face off against the number 3 team in the nation. We saw a lot of unorganized play from the Trojans. You talk about that youth talent that they have. That's a lot of growing pains that they're going to have to overcome throughout the rest of this season, and they have a lot of buffering to do so. They get a short break here coming up before they play San Diego State on the 25th. But for the Panthers, this is a great win for them. It gives them a little bit of rest. Jason Bollinger gets some key rest that he needs. Because we talked about how many ranked opponents they're playing against. Last year, 7-1 against ranked opponents. They're going to need that energy going through the rest of the stretch all the way up to that number 1 team, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, obviously we saw those big saves from Eli Pergola, but let's go down to the sideline where Nico Schwegler has a quick interview with our MVP for tonight's game.
Thanks, guys, so much. I'm here with Luke right now, and Luke, what a game you guys had. Let's just take a look at that scoreboard right there. 20 goals on the board, 38 in your last 2 games. What does that mean to you as an attacker?
Man, that fires me up. We're putting the pieces together. We're playing calm and confident, and we're putting up the numbers. It feels good.
It's incredible, especially your stat line here today. A hat trick of goals and hat trick of assists, 3 and 3 each. What allowed you to be so efficient against this Trojan defense?
Well, we played our game. We dominated the face-offs, got good possession time, and then honestly, we had good off-ball movement, and it helped me, keep my eyes up, find guys on the inside, and then, once we got those inside looks, they stopped sliding and had to start putting them in.
It's always great to see, and obviously Dante running by right there, sustained that injury now out for the 2nd consecutive game. But what did it mean seeing a guy like Adam McDonald and some of these other freshmen really step it up on the offensive side of the ball?
Dude, it fires me up. I love playing with Adam because he's a pure crease attackman, and that fits my style really well because I like to get those inside looks. And he's got a great energy. He's always fired up. Every time we turn the ball over, he's like, "It's okay, Maz, it's okay." And he's just a good guy to talk to, and I'm happy that he's having success early on.
It's always great coming away with a Chaptown win. Luke, great job on the game. Good luck on the rest of the season. I'll be sending it back up to you guys in the booth. As always, I've been Nico Schwegler, signing off from CSBN.
Well, thank you so much, Nico. Obviously a great interview and some great highlights we saw there of Luke Morissette. It's so true. He just absolutely dominates. We saw him playing at X a lot today.
Look at the mannerism that he's got. He's very calm and collected. He's just sitting in the comfortable chair, taking that seat, putting his foot to the metal all the way. Almost, that we're talking about that flow state a lot in sports. You could tell that he's always locked into that flow state, and nobody's more locked in than CSBN, right? But Luke Morissette, fully locked in.
It's true. They are locked in, and maybe they're taking it from us, but remember, this is a club sport team. Obviously, is not affiliated with Chapman, not a D3. They're playing D1 teams, but that means that they rely on your donations from watching here or from watching in the stands if you're here today to survive, to live, to go to places, to go play against like number 1 teams, Virginia Tech. But it's all from donations, and they love to play the game. These are some great guys. This was a great game, Justin. I had the pleasure and honor of calling it with you and working with so many people, great, back at the control room, on the field, doing all these things. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't even do it. We have never done a game before, and we get this first one, and obviously always a pleasure to do one. And, hey, we got to do more in the future. That's for sure.
That's right.
Is for sure.
That's right. I do appreciate it. But thank you so much for joining us here on the Chapman Sports Broadcast Network. Catch us next weekend for more coverage of lacrosse and women's water polo. You can follow us on all of our socials at CSBN Live, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you get all of your social media. Be sure to follow us there. And until next time, I'm Dan Batson, joined by the wonderful Justin Lee. Thanks for watching.